Revolutionary greetings, comrades. Workers in Zimbabwe continue to be exploited. When we say we're building a vanguard of the working class and peasantry, because we do not claim to be a vanguard, and you do not earn your vanguardism by claiming. You cannot climb on a rooftop and claim to be a vanguard. So we are building a vanguard of the working class. So when we say this, the comment that you always get is that there are no workers in Zimbabwe. There are workers that have been exploited on a daily basis. We have been focusing mainly on public sector workers whose employer is government. Newsbox, an online publication, is running with a story of about 53 former mine workers who have been evicted from a mine. It says, I quote, "The Bulawayo High Court has authorized the eviction of 53 former employees and their families at Olympia's gold mine after they refused to work for the new mine owner. Olympia's Gold Mine Private Limited, trading as Old Nick Mine, is now owned by Retinue Stars Investments Private Limited, which bought the business after it encountered serious financial challenges in 2015, close quote. The judiciary is one of the key state apparatus, and the state is the organ of the ruling class. We are not surprised that the courts in Zimbabwe, the High Court in Bulawayo, will not rule in favor of the workers. It will rule in favor of the bosses, because the Zimbabwean state represents the ruling class. There's a quote here, it says, workers who were not part of the skeletal staff were placed on unpaid leave with the intention that if the situation improved, they would return to work. It took that measure in agreement with the affected employees that the respondents were being asked. But what I'm trying to get to, it says, quote, its undertaking was premised on the condition that the workers would not claim from it anymore, which was due to them from Old Nick Mine for the period that they were unpaid leave. Read part of the court papers, because when the new owner took over, according to this article, workers were placed on unpaid leave. When the new owner then took off, they were placed on unpaid leave. So this is the genesis of the problem, because workers could not go back want to work when they are not being paid. So the workers in Zimbabwe continue to be exploited. And this is not the only case. We were discussing about the payout, pension payout, where a person that has worked for years in Zimbabwe is now retired. They get about $2, $5 per month. You live in a rural area. You need transport to travel to withdraw your money. The money that you are being paid as your pension is not enough for your transport to the city or to the town where there is a bank. There's another story in another publication. It says, this story is about a worker who was working for Zim Papers for 45 years. 45 years, he joined Zim Papers chronically in Bulawayo in 1979. He's now 65. He retires. He worked for Zim Publishers, the Herald, Sunday Mail, Chronicle, H Metro, and B Metro for 45 years. Is the Zenzo Ngwenya, who is 65. You retire at the age of 65. We have a president who's over 80, but we'll talk about that later on. But you retire at the age of 65. You have worked for 45 years. And this worker who was the production manager, it says like, there is no package, and neither was he given a token of appreciation by the company he worked for since 1st March 1979, when it was still Rhodesian Chronicle. Ngwenya, who sadly lost his wife last year, bade farewell to his colleagues last week and is likely to relocate to his rural home. Ngwenya, a soft-spoken fellow, served for a long time at the Chronicle, and many journalists worked with him during his tenure, close quote. So for 45 years, I can't get a proper word to define this exploitation. For 45 years, this worker now is expected to retire, is already retiring to his village. He has got nothing. He has got nothing to show for what he has worked for in the last 45 years. That is the highest form of exploitation of the Zimbabwean workers in Zimbabwe. In the next video, we're going to talk about the proposed new currency that we're told that end of the week is going to be announced. But the exploitation of workers in Zimbabwe continues. And the only way to end this exploitation is for the working class, is for the workers themselves to be organized in trade unions. And a part of the problem we're having is that those that are in trade unions, some are organizing trade unions not to advance the interest of the workers, but to use trade unions to receive a salary. We will discuss about these matters in the next video. Please like this video, subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you are on TikTok, please do follow us. Otherwise, Amandla Comrades.